Hi, I'm Baseford, and today I'm going to show you a little tip on how to utilize a stereo track as kind of a multiple mono type track in Pro Tools. I'm going to show you in this first video, I'm going to show you how I use this for recording guitars when I want to record the DI alongside the signal from the amp. So here I've got a song in Pro Tools, just a quick little rock riff here. Got the guitar amp signal, and then the guitar DI signal. So the reason I record a DI separate is if I want to reamp it at a later time, or if I wanted to edit the guitar and make it really tight onto a grid or something like that, it's easier to see. Or if I want to put an effect pedal on it at some point, I've got the clean DI to do that with. While you're tracking, while you're editing, basically that's just there just in case you need it. I don't want to be listening to it. So what I used to do is I'd use two mono tracks, one the amp, one the DI, and then I would just mute the DI. As you can see, my inputs here, I've got 1 and 2 different signals, obviously. I stumbled upon this little trick that actually helped me quite a bit in terms of my session management and just my workflow and being able to do various things and keeping things neat and tidy. And that trick is to utilize a stereo track to put both of these clips onto. And then actually once I started doing that, I ended up just starting to record onto the stereo track instead of recording onto two mono tracks and then changing it later. So let me show you what I mean, and then once you figured out the concept, you can apply it to a bunch of different things, and I'll actually post a few other examples and some other videos of examples of how you could use this. So you've got my two tracks here. I'm going to go up to New Track, select a stereo audio track. And there we go. I'm going to rename this track guitar. I use a short form here, an abbreviated short form. Make sure that's bus to where you want it to go. I want it to go to my mix bus. And I'm also going to label here in the comments, the left side is going to end up being my guitar amp, and the right side is going to end up being my DI. And I'll just bring the volume down a little bit on that. Okay, so here's the magic of this all. I'm going to drag both these tracks down onto the stereo track. I'm going to play that for you. Not exactly what we wanted, right? We've got the amp on our left and the DI on our right. First of all, we want the amp up the middle. And I don't even want to hear the DI, I just want it muted. So here's where the fun comes in. If you go up to your inserts, and you select a multiple mono plugin. And I use the trim plugin because it lets me mute and adjust the volume and adjust the phase. So this is the first plugin in my chain when I'm doing this. And when you open up the multiple mono, there's a little link button here that's usually engaged. You want to unengage that. And what that lets you do is it lets you have different settings for the left side and the right side. And really at this point, it's just a two-channel track. Left and right is just a label. We're not using the left side for panning left, and we're not using the right side for panning right. We're just using the track as if it was two mono tracks, hence the multiple mono. So in this particular instance, I don't want to hear the DI. We know the DI is on the right side. Go to the right, hit the mute button. And there you go. Now, if you say, oh, well, I want to pan the guitar a little bit or whatever, well, you're not hearing the right side, so you just use the left pan knob. You say, oh, well, now I want to put an EQ on it. Okay, well, put an EQ on it. Just use a multiple mono EQ. And we'll go use the Trident. Unlink it, and just make the changes to the right side. So now when you, to the left side, now when you switch the right side, everything's flat. So you're really only putting everything on the side that you want it, which is our amp side. The DI we want to leave clean, and we really just want to leave it there in case we might need it. Now, if I go and do any editing, so let's say I want to fly this section here into the end of the song, you know, or whatever you want to do. Let's say you want to chop up this piece and slide this whole thing back. Everything stays together. Your DI and your amp that you recorded at one time, and it's the same signal, everything stays together. You don't have to worry about grouping. If you go into playlists, let's say you want to make a bunch of playlists. All right, here we go. Here's a few playlists, whatever. And you like to use the playlist view, you can actually edit your two tracks together. Now, as far as I know, if you wanted to do this same thing when you have two mono tracks grouped together, it's not quite as elegant as what we're looking at right now. So there's just a bunch of different great reasons as to why I use a stereo track and utilize it as basically a multiple mono track. And here's one of the main reasons, and this is actually how I stumbled upon the idea to do this. Like I said, now I'll set up a stereo track before I even record, and I actually record my guitars now like this onto a stereo track, just with the right side, the DI muted. Whereas I used to basically do it separate and then put it on the stereo track just to make it easier. But I just record onto it now. It's just part of my workflow. So try that out, and make sure you check out my website, chrisbaseford.com, and check out my other videos on my YouTube channel, Chris Baseford. Hope you enjoyed this one, and stay tuned for a few more. Thanks for watching.